All right, so right here, I'm on my close friend Sherry's rooftop, brand new rooftop that she's at in Tampa, Florida. And this past weekend, we just celebrated your...
I just bought a business, a home care company for $1.2 million.
A $1.2 million deal. And although she's a little quiet about it, the cash flow is amazing on this deal. And we're going to give you guys a little bit of backstory on this, because the story here that I want to share with Sherry literally applies to majority of America. I would say most people are literally like, I would say probably like one or two steps from turning the corner from where they are right now to making very, very good money. Like Sherry, now in the position where you're at, you can clearly see that you could go from where you were at before to in just literally in a few years having savings of even a few mil. Like you have now this whole pathway, right? And so when I'll sit down with someone just like Sherry, it's like I can go right through their financials. We can see exactly how much they have saved up, their experience and all that, and then we can apply that to some type of method that's making more money. And for her, it was buying a business. And a lot of people, it's going to be buying a business. That's usually one of the fastest ways I know that can help people make more money very, very quickly. So Sherry's, working
Corporate America, for 35 years. So.
And what type of positions, what type of industries?
So I was in healthcare the whole time. So I had come across a company like this when I first moved out of Hawaii, and then I ended up in a home health company for many years, doing strategic relationships and building joint ventures with big health systems out in Austin, Texas, and in California. So I had worked for a lot of really smart people, but made a lot of money for a lot of really smart people. And it wasn't me. So that corporate career ended about 36 years in.
Earlier this year, in January, I get this text from Sherry, right? I'll read the text. All right, it goes, "Hi, Kahea. I know you're in the business of helping people learn how to make money. I knew there would always be a day when I'd need to call in a big favor, but here I am, almost 58, out of work for the first time in my entire life. I'm not really panicking yet, but getting close. I'm totally sick of healthcare. I could really use help from someone like you. Would you be willing to sit down with me and help make sure I don't end up on a park bench?" And she's got like the laughing emoji. So here, I'll even respond with what I said. "Laugh out loud. You won't end up on a park bench ever. You're way too bright. For sure, I'd love to sit down with you and help formulate some options. Let's sit down. How far are you from OC?"
3 hours later, I was in his driveway.
3 hours later, she was over at my house, and she literally lived like 2 hours away. She was actually by like past Malibu, 8,000 Goats. Yeah. So behind that text message.
So I had left a corporate job in May of that previous year, and then I took a consulting job. And that company that I was consulting for stopped listening to me and were doing some things that I ethically did not agree with. So I left, and I'd never left another job without a job. Never. But, having a lot of experience and all my life, I never had a problem finding a job. So I really wasn't worried. And then come January, spent about 30 days, and I was like, nobody wants to hire a 57-year-old woman, regardless how much experience I had. And that was just shocking for me, because I just never thought it would be a problem. And that's when I started to say, okay, I'm not panicking yet, but I sort of am, because I'd never in, my whole life of working been out of work.
And what do you think that is, the reason why like corporate or jobs won't hire?
I think it's a mix of things. One is, I think, it's the way we find jobs now. Yeah. There's 1,000 applicants for every job, right? So it's a needle in a haystack. I think the second part is, most companies, if they're innovative, are hiring younger people because there's all the technology. They know it, and they think 58-year-olds don't, and sometimes we don't, and sometimes we do. But, I think they value that the innovative thinking and the tech and all that stuff so much more. And they think someone like, with my experience isn't worth
especially if they're looking for someone. In their mind, they're thinking, hey, I need someone that's going to have a 10-year roadway with us.
Exactly.
And then they go, well, really, does someone that's close to 60 want to be here for another 10 years?
Exactly.
Do they not?
Exactly. Yep. So, yeah, it was eye-opening for sure. So.
And, the other side to that as well is if you're not having income coming in, then you're living off savings, right?
Yeah.
And kind of expensive to live off savings, especially in California.
Very.
Living by Calabasas, of all places.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I cleared my schedule that day, and I said, hey, Sherry, I don't have any meetings. It's open if we can meet. And she literally jumped in the car, boom, drove down right away to come meet with me, and was literally at my house within a couple hours, and that was like really cool. But
it was really cool that you cleared a schedule too. I know you didn't have an open schedule.
I told her my meetings
Yeah, meetings were canceled.
got canceled all of a sudden. You know, and so yeah, we sit down, and I wanted to. I already knew what I wanted to do. Like I already knew what I was going to suggest for you to do, basically. But you know, I had to kind of lead you through that process.
Yep.
And but I would say within like, I don't know, within like 30 minutes, 45 minutes of talking, what was like the solution I kind of pitched to you?
Yeah, so we started off with my little dream. And we did the numbers, and he said, you're going to need a lot of these little dreams to make one big dream. So maybe we don't start there. I'm like, no, I need money now. So once I got to that mindset of I need money now, what do I need to do? We then talked about my financials, and he said, we're going to buy a business. I said, okay, no idea what that means, but okay, what do we do? So that's where we started. We're going to buy a business, and here's how you start to look for them, and here's the worksheets.
For the next 6 months, we start looking for businesses, right? And it's not like this easy process,
No.
like buying a condo or a house.
No.
We try to simplify it as much as we can, but how many businesses did you look at? Like, how many listings would you even get a guess?
I had a spreadsheet of over 30 that I had at least said I was interested in after running it through your calculator. So they were way more than that before.
Yeah, it's probably like 100 listings.
At least.
And then
I looked at every single day, all day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All day long.
And we were on. We have like a group chat. Me, yourself, and Jenna, someone that works in our office.
Yeah.
And literally every day, going, okay, how about this? How about that? How about this? You did a letter of intent or an offer on Kona Ice. Like the Shave Ice company, Kona Ice, they had a bunch of trucks over here in Florida and this like region that we thought would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think you
Subway, dry cleaners.
Subway,
company.
maybe you can make an offer on a package of Subways. We looked at that. We looked at all these different types of businesses, and in different areas too, right?
Yeah.
The very first business you offered on was
in California, so it was a home care company in Riverside.
Very similar to the one here, right?
Yep, same exact business. And my goal originally was California, either to stay in California, to look at Florida where my parents are here, or Texas, which is another place where I have a kid and we've lived before. So those are the only three like states I was looking in. And I was kind of open to whatever one was the best deal. But this one has so many more benefits, including the fact that my parents are here. It's just
well, and beyond that, right? Let's just Riverside could have made you great money, but you're living in Riverside.
Exactly.
No offense to anybody that's living in Riverside. Well, you guys know, because I live near you guys, and I wouldn't want to live in Riverside either. So, Riverside or this?
Yeah, right.
And so I would even take a small pay cut if it meant to be in Florida for sure. Like it's about quality of life. Especially when you're dealing with making several hundreds of thousands of dollars a year anyways, right? We're not talking like either 50 grand or 100 grand,
right?
Yeah. And so I think by beginning of June, Sherry finds this listing and we dive right in. Yeah. So offers written, we get on a phone call with the seller.
So the seller was also the broker, which was also nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Yep. And he was very motivated and really liked, our conversation. So he said, how quickly can you do this? I said, okay, yeah, I think we can do it tonight, right? And sure enough, we did. We did an LOI that night. So it was fast.
This is how we structured this deal. The purchase price is $1.2 million. We got the bank to do an SBA loan for $1,020,000, which is 85% of the purchase price. We got the seller to seller finance $60,000, which is 5%. And then Sherry only had to put down 10% of the overall purchase price, which was $120,000, in order for her to net $375,000 a year. And we handled all the negotiations with the bank and seller on her behalf.
Yeah, we get the LOI done, offers in. There's some things in the deal that we needed to make sure the lender was going to be okay with, different financials and things like that. But we have a very strong lending partner, and Megan was phenomenal on this deal, right?
Amazing. I could have never done this without your resources, and Megan was a huge one. Huge. Incredible, yeah.
And now from June going into July, your house, you need to make a decision on if you're renewing your lease at that current place or if you're needing to move.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I moved before we were signed, before anything was official. I took the leap. I think by that point I had my mindset that this was what was meant to be. Even if this deal didn't end up going through, you know, we would have had to find another one here because it just made sense to me, you know.
Yeah.
And I felt confident it was going to go through, but it was a little scary to just leave everything
She moved
and hope
because
it goes through.
you got the lease on this place. Like she was house shopping in July, and we were still like 2 months out to closing, and so but she needed to figure out a place. Her other lease was ending, and it's like, okay, what do I do? She's in California. Now we had a lot of the approvals already with the lender, and the deal was very, very strong. And so it worked in Sherry's favor because we all knew the deal would work. But there's other caveat to that as well. We had a really good seller. And because we had a really good seller that you could trust, that we could trust, the lender could trust, he was all about working every scenario out, every single hurdle that we had,
and being fair,
working it out, and moving forward to close.
Yeah.
I think if we're working with a seller that we couldn't completely trust, and I probably would have said, Sherry, don't move yet.
Well, I was going to say, don't do it. Might have been a little naive of me to go, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. But I mean, the same thing, like we trusted them, you know, they were very fair. They lived by their word. I mean, so we thought it might take longer than we wanted, but we didn't, at least I didn't think it wouldn't go through, you know?
Yep. So you got June, beginning of June, offer sent in, July, like when did you choose this place?
I chose it in the beginning of July. I moved July 27th.
Wow. So signed the lease beginning of July. So 30 days in after the offer is signed, she grabbed a place here right on the water, moves end of July, and then September 15th, which is now another 45 days later, she closes on your $1.2 million business. And this is such a huge feat because you take where you were in January and then you fast forward 8 months or whatever, right? And it's like, and now you're here.
Yeah.
And it's like that whole, what felt like a financial crisis is like a completely opposite 360.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm still nervous about it all, but you know, yes, supposedly this is going to be financially freeing. But yeah, I mean, I'm so excited because it's a business I know. So that whole part of it isn't even in the equation. Like I know how to do this business. I know how to grow it. I'm also lucky enough to be doing it with my daughter, who is going to be helping me with her master's degree in international business to help sell. So it's a dream, you know, and we're holding a spot for my littlest one too. I mean, my whole goal is to have something for them and have a legacy, which I wasn't going to have from corporate America. So.
Yep. And the nice thing is that I would say one of the biggest things of owning a business is you have a pathway of increasing your profit, and it's all up to you, right?
Yeah.
So she takes on a $1.2 million business. If I had to give you guys some math to that, that would mean a business that's valued at 1.2 mil would create cash flow in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. That's cash flow, and that's before you have to pay your loan if you borrow money from the bank, right? But she still cashes very, very well, even after the loan from the bank. But then on top of that, like realistically, how long would it take, do you think, for you to take this business and double your income?
I think 2 years.
2 years. And that's just something, like you can never do that in corporate. You can't, like no matter how hard you work, they're never going to double your income.
Yeah. No, it's very possible in 2 years for this company.
Yeah, I believe it too. And so, I mean, total transition. All right. So, 8-month transition, right? So January, looking for something, needing a whole financial path, need to figure out something financially for your future. Look for a business. June, find a business that you really want, offer on it, right? So now we're 5 months in, I believe, at that point. July, you move, Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
You're here now, which is nearby where the office is at, the business is at. And then September 15th, you close on the business. And this was a what 91% financed, or how did that work?
90, I think.
About 90% financed.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, the other nice thing, so 1.2, Sherry's putting down about 100,000 or so.
120, I think it is.
120.
Mm-hmm.
So she puts down 120. On top of that, the bank gave you 100 grand, or about 200 grand in working capital.
Yeah.
About 200 grand in working capital as well. So the nice thing with how we structure our deals is we're not just going to help you close this deal, but it works to nobody's benefit if someone comes in and buys a business and then doesn't have the financial capability to handle the first few months, which are very costly.
Yeah.
Right. And usually, like any business, it'll take a few weeks or so or a month or so to get in the groove and profit coming in or revenues coming in while expenses going out. Mm-hmm. So the 200 grand is going to give her the working capital to cover that amount of time from there, so she can do it in a more comfortable way. And then, of course, it works out for everybody. So if Sherry's successful, everybody else is successful. All right, so there you go. Corporate America, and yet in your first 2 years of business, you'll make more money than you ever made.
The whole 35 years.
in corporate America. And now you see an easy path to show your kids. And I think the one text I sent you that I thought was pretty cool was when you closed your business, or when you bought this business, closed on it. I was like, look, your new language now is millions.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah. I still am not used to that, but